Hey everyone, today is the day that we're going to use our starter that we've been working on all week to make our classic sourdough loaf. I'm going to show you how I do that, everything you're going to need to do that. I do have to say that I already recorded part of this video and my camera stopped for some reason. So my sourdough starter is pretty far down, but that's why. But it's still active. And I do want to share that I usually like to wait. I've learned this as I've gone. Wait until it just starts to fall. That is the best time to use it to make your sourdough loaves. I used to do it whenever, and a lot of people recommend this, whenever it's domed and it's all the way to the top. But I have found that it actually rises better and I get more of a better loaf if I wait until it is actually starting to fall. And so what I did last night, I fed it at like 10 o'clock and I thought, well, I need to get up at 2 and see if I need to discard and feed it again. And so now my husband is finding out why the alarm was set at 2 o'clock in the morning. But so then what I ended up doing, it wasn't all the way peaked. So I thought, okay, well, we're just gonna see what happens. So I got up at 5 and it had just literally probably had just fallen like 30 minutes before that. And so timing was perfect. So we're just going to go ahead. I want to show you everything that I have here. We have 4 cups of flour. We're going to need 2 teaspoons of salt. We're going to need 1.5 cups of warm water. And I like using this digital scale. This is perfect for whenever you actually are checking to see if your loaf is done. You stick it into the sides, into the through the end of it, and then you'll know that it's the right temperature. You want it to be 210 whenever you're baking your loaf, and we're going to do that tomorrow. So that'll be part 2 of this video, or another video. And the perfect temperature I feel like for making this is between 104 and 108 for the water. And so that's what I have, 104 degrees. And then of course we have the star of the show, which is our starter. And so now let me grab a 1/2 cup measurement cup, because that is how much starter we're going to need. So we're going to pour that in there. And you want the starter to be active and bubbly. That is the key. And it definitely is. This morning I was watching it because that was the test, just to make sure the bubbles were still doing what they're supposed to be doing. And they definitely were. All right, so now we're going to scrape that out into our bowl. And again, these are perfect for this. Little spatulas. All right. And then we're going to pour our water in. Let's get that guy back. And I'll be feeding him after this is over. All right, now we're going to go ahead and pour our 1.5 cups of warm water. And then you're going to stir that to let that starter dissolve some. And these are awesome. Whenever we bought the kit off of Amazon, this came with it. And this is perfect for whenever we start to mix our flour in. So to stir this around. All right, so then we're going to do, I like to do the salt at this point. I just feel like it works better. So you're going to take 2 teaspoons of salt. And then we'll do the flour. And if you saw my short, I like to dump the entire 4 cups into the mixture. I like having it all in there at one time. So I'm just going to plop that in there. Oops, part of it didn't make it. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and stir this up. The loaf that I made for my family yesterday turned out really good. We made grilled cheese sandwich with it last night, sandwiches. And man, it was delicious. I'm excited to learn more about the recipes you can do, and excited to show you guys what I learn and teach you as well. If you want to stay on this journey with me or join this journey, I just encourage you to like this video, share it, and to subscribe to my channel, Carissa's Bread Basket. I actually bake in my home for different ones that place orders. I do soft sourdough discard rolls. I do soft sourdough sandwich bread. It's discard sandwich bread. And then I do my classic sourdough loaf, which is what we're doing right now. All right, now what you're looking for, and you can see we're getting there, is going to be a shaggy dough. It's not going to be a smooth dough. And I'm going to go ahead and start taking this off because we're going to get in here with our hands and work it just a little bit. Today is going to be stretch and folding, and I'm going to teach you how to do that later on in this video. And we're also going to be waiting because this has to sit on the counter covered up until it doubles in size. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to double in size. You're looking for a consistency that I'll talk about later. But yeah, it is good if it can get close to doubling. But that's not necessarily necessary. It is early. Like I said, I was up at 2 checking it, and then it took me a while to go back to sleep. And then my husband leaves at 5, so whenever he left, I thought, okay, it's time to check it. Now, you can see this is pretty sticky still. You can add a little bit more flour if you want to, but you don't have to. I think I'm going to, because it seems like, and maybe because I dropped a little bit over here, but we will just work that. We'll just work that in a little bit. And then actually what we're going to do is we're going to leave this on the counter for 30 minutes to an hour. And what that does is it lets the water and the flour, lets the flour absorb the water. So we're not going to touch it for at least 30 minutes. Sometimes I wait an hour. We'll see what ends up happening today. But yeah, this is what you want. And like I said, after it sits, that flour will absorb some of that water. So some of this sticky will be better. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab a plate. You can use plastic wrap, you can use a plate, you can use a pie pan, whatever works for you. But you want to cover this up because you do not want this dough to dry out. Very, very important that you don't let that happen. All right. I'm going to let this sit, and then I will be back. All right, it's been about 40 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and do our first round of stretch and folds. And I also wanted to show you, I went ahead and discarded and fed our starter. And I started saving the discard. This is 3. And I just did the rest. I topped it off with what I discarded from that. And so this can be made into the soft sandwich bread that I make, the rolls. You can make pancakes. They're absolutely delicious. But there's lots of different things you can do with this card. That way this isn't wasted. So yeah, so you want to save that. I keep it in the fridge. You put a tight lid on it and save it in the refrigerator. And it's good for about a week like this. So, all right. So now we're going to do our first series of stretch and folds. And sorry about that. This is what our dough is looking like now. So the way that this works is you're going to kind of divide your dough in fours. And you're going to start on one side. And you're going to, I like using both of my hands in the beginning because it's pretty pliable. You can see how pliable it is. But you're just going to pull straight up, and then you're going to fold it in on itself. I start out kind of gentle at first, and then I get a little bit more tougher with it as we go. And then to get it to stretch, sometimes you want to kind of pull like that, but then you just fold it over on itself. And then notice I'm turning it a quarter turn. You're basically making like a box. So we're on the third side. You just pull straight up. And what this does is it strengthens the gluten. Get your dough like it's supposed to be. So we're going to raise up. I do want to tell you too, I use, I meant to mention this earlier, but I use the King Arthur bread flour to make my classic sourdough loaves. I feel like it does the best. Okay, so we're starting over. This is our second round. I believe I wasn't paying quite as close attention as I probably should have been. We're going to say yes. So we're going to call that 5. We actually end up doing 12. But yeah, I just use bread flour for my sourdough loaves. And it's awesome. So then that's 6. That's 7. I think sourdough is therapy. 8. Oh, 9. This dough feels so good. And 11. And then 12. So then what we do is we're going to put the plate back on top. I like to actually flip mine over, and that way I'm going the other way the next time. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do. That's just what I do. And it works. So, but yeah, just put the lid back on it. We're going to wait 30 more minutes, let this sit, and then we're going to do another series of stretch and folds. And then you do that one more time after that. So it's 30 minutes, stretch and folds, 30 minutes, stretch and folds, and then 30 minutes, stretch and folds. And then it's going to sit on your counter until it bulk ferments. And that just means that it's going to get all these little bubbles in it. It's going to rise almost to double. So that's what you're wanting it to do. So we're just going to let that rest, and then we'll be back. All right, this is going to be our second round of stretch and folds. I'm going to try to do it this way so that way you guys can see better. But basically, you just start by grabbing the one side and just pull straight up. And the purpose of this, like I said, is to strengthen the gluten. And then we're going to quarter turn and pull straight up. And then fold it on itself, quarter turn. All right, so my last stretch and fold this morning was around 7:25, and I wanted to show you where we're at. It is almost 1 o'clock here, so we're getting close. Let's see. Yeah, it's been almost 5 hours. I usually go about 6 hours, but it just depends. You know, the humidity, the atmosphere in the home, the temperature in the home, all of that affects, you know, how fast this process happens. And so you want to keep that in mind. But what we're waiting for is to see a few more bubbles. You can see some bubbles forming, and you can even look. I like using a clear bowl because you can see, you know, how many bubbles are forming underneath even. And then they need to be throughout, on top, in the middle, everywhere. So that's one thing that we're looking for. Another thing we want is for it to pull away from the sides easily, and it is starting to do that. But I'm thinking probably another hour, hour and a half, and this will be ready. I was hoping that I could show you guys the next step, but it's just getting to be to the point that I'm going to have to add that to my video tomorrow. And so what will be happening today, the rest of the day, I'm planning on probably around 2:30 this afternoon, going ahead and shaping this and putting it into the loaf. And what I do is I put it into the Vanity basket and then put it in plastic bag, and it sits in the refrigerator overnight. 12 to 15 hours is what my target is for cold proofing, and then it will be ready to bake tomorrow. So I'm hoping that I can get it in the refrigerator around 2:30, 3 o'clock, probably 3 o'clock this afternoon, and then I'll be able to get my video done earlier and get it posted sooner. So I apologize for how long this is taking, but I'm still learning everything as well about YouTube and all of that, since it's all brand new to me. So even though this takes patience, I hope you have patience for me too, as I'm learning all of this. But this is the end of this video, but I will go ahead and finish the process and videotape that and put that all together for you guys tomorrow. So I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.